From Does Size Matter, and we are at the Calgary RV Expo today. I'm so super excited because I get to do a lot of new and different types of rigs. So remember, everything we're telling you, we're in Calgary, Canada, it's going to be Canadian dollars. So for all you Americans out there, you're probably going, yes! So this video specifically is going to be on the construction of the leisure travel vans Unity and Wonder. So we'll do the construction and then we'll link you to the floor plans and do the tours of a few of them that are here today. So click on that at the end. As always, don't forget to click subscribe and join us. We'll go on some adventures too. The other thing I want to remind you of is that we have one of our really great trusted resources that I'm going to link to in the description that you can use too, and that's called rvreviews.net, and that's where you're going to find tons of information, new and used, construction, different makes and models, and you can even get to the real specifics of a rig if that's the one you're looking for. So you can get the general stuff and you can narrow it right down. Remember, links in the description for that, so click on there. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the construction of the leisure travel vans, Unity and the Wonder. Now, they also have a Serenity. The Serenity is a different construction process, so it's not going to be included in this video, and we're just going to focus on these two for today. The main difference between the two is the chassis that it's on. So we're going to start talking about the Mercedes-Benz chassis. You guys all know me, I've got notes, so I'm going to refer to those, okay? The Unity is going to be found on the lovely Mercedes-Benz chassis. So this is a 3500 3-liter V6 turbo diesel with a 188 horsepower engine. Take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. 325 foot-pounds of torque with a 7-speed transmission. Now, we all know the Mercedes-Benz chassis is a tried and tested, people love it, been around the block, high-quality chassis. It's got a lot of safety standards that are going with this rig, so I'm just going to go through a list of those with you. Things like lane assist, collision assist, so that it'll sort of start braking for you and that kind of thing. The active cruise control, so when you're on cruise and you're coming up behind somebody, it'll keep you a safe distance back. They got airbags everywhere, seats, window pillars, stuff like that. It's like I said, a very popular one, and we'll kind of talk about the pros and cons of the two after. So now let's talk about the Wonder because it's on a different chassis, so let's take a look at that. Still a great looking coach, but it's going to be on the Ford Transit chassis. So let me read my notes on that for you. So this is also a 350 diesel, 185 horsepower, 350 feet-pounds of torque, 3.2 liter turbo diesel with a 6-speed transmission. It also has a ton of safety features to it. It's got the driver assist as an all-wheel drive, the collision warning, the lane assist. This also has a side wind stabilization, tire pressure monitoring system, and an anti-theft. So, I mean, they're different. So you should go on lots of forums, read lots of things, as I did, about the differences. This is a cheaper chassis than the Mercedes chassis, but a lot of folks feel like the Mercedes chassis then is also a little more expensive to maintain or a little harder to find parts or somebody to fix it, where the Ford's a little more common. People who have the Mercedes chassis seem to love the Mercedes chassis. I've not heard a lot of complaints about it, but I also haven't heard complaints about the Ford chassis. So I think it's really up to you. You should drive both of them and have a feel and see what you think about it. One little tip that I've got to share with you, though, is that with the growing demand of these types of RVs and the fact that they're built on these chassis that are used for many other things in many different applications, such as Amazon, with that, and then just making sure that emission standards are good and things in the US, we're moving into a time of high demand and trouble keeping up with supply. So many people want these chassis. It's getting a little bit tough for manufacturers like Leisure Travel Van and all others. So it doesn't matter which manufacturer you're looking at, every one of them is having a little trouble getting their hands on the Mercedes chassis in 2020, just due to that supply and demand thing. So the Leisure Travel Vans has put out a statement saying that they're going to, as of today, January 31st, they're going to stop production on the Serenity. They are definitely building the Unities, but they're just going to be a little delayed in time, maybe till the summer. So they're still there, they're still making them, it's just they're going to be coming out slower. To counteract that, they are beefing up production of the Wonder. They've even got a new floor plan going. So there's lots of choices still there. You can still purchase these wonderful rigs, but get it now. Come down to the Calgary RV show. And the reason I'm saying that is that they're in such high demand. They are so great that they're going to go quick, and then production is going to be slowing down. So now is the time to get your Mercedes chassis if that's what you're looking for in one of these gorgeous Class B plus C rigs. So let's go into a few of the other construction details around the Unity and the Wonder, because they are built the same. When the chassis comes into the factory at Leisure Travel Van, it comes in as a cutout, so it's like just the cab part and then the chassis, and then Leisure goes ahead and builds this gorgeous house on top of it. So I want to talk a little more about that. And you can tell that these two rigs are a wide body. So the chassis comes to the factory, and then the factory builds out all of this house stuff. And this is mostly a fiberglass exterior, and we'll talk about that some more. But I just wanted to show you how the wide body actually gives you the extra space. And then some of these rigs even have slides that add more space. So as we're moving down, I just want to show you that these rigs are smaller overall, but they still give you luxury and space. So like we said, the chassis comes to the factory, and then Leisure Travel Van builds this whole house on top of that chassis. So the Mercedes-Benz chassis is dipped in wax in order to keep it from rusting and all those kinds of things, and they're quite specific about who and how any house is built on top of that. So you have to be a Mercedes-Benz master outfitter in order to be able to build on the chassis, follow all of their rules and requirements, and maintain the warranty of the chassis. So that's an important detail for you all to know. So what Leisure Travel Vans does is they build outriggers that come out from underneath the chassis in order to build the wide body out and support the weight. So those outriggers are also powder coated to prevent any rusting and that kind of thing. And there's one more detail, but I'll explain that in a bit. So they put a steel frame flooring piece on the chassis. Then they do a vacuum bonded procedure on the floor pieces, which will be of the plywood, and there's a couple different flooring types, but they'll put all of that together, vacuum bond it, and that becomes the floor. The walls and the roof are an aluminum structure. Now I just want to point out that they're not actually studded and trussed, but we're not talking about huge spaces. They do support and frame out all openings, walls and roof. So if you can imagine, there may not be an actual stud every 16 inches on center, or in many much wider, but they do frame each of these out and support them with aluminum in the roof as well. Then they put the block foam insulation on, then they've got the fiberglass, they've got 3 coats of paint, 2 coats of gel coat that go on to give you this beautiful glossy finish. On the inside of the wall there is a wall board, and I haven't been able to find exactly what that is. Is it a Luan? What is it? I'm suspecting it's Luan, but I don't have the facts on that, so if I can find that while we're here, I will share that with you. Then in the roof, you get the inside piece, which I suspect is like a vinyl sheeting. You go up to a 5-inch block foam in there, insulation, and you get a full fiberglass one-piece sheet for your roof material. Of course, again, all of the openings are framed out and supported. Then they are used, people ask this question, screws to put the pieces in place, like the AC or the vents or that kind of thing. Every single one of those is completely sealed, so shouldn't become a problem for you. But again, you need to go up on your roof and do maintenance and check those things out. So the rear cap is also a fiberglass piece, and it's fully insulated throughout the entire back. The fiberglass pieces that Leisure Travel Van has, they construct themselves in their manufacturing plant. So any of the sort of bumper pieces, the caps, that kind of stuff, they take care of themselves. So they put all that together to give you these products. Now, whether you're on the Unity or the Wonder, these are constructed the same. So when we're talking about the plumbing in the Unity and the Wonder, you need to know that it's above the floor. And that doesn't mean that you can see it or anything. It's all tucked behind furniture and things like that. But what's significant about it is that it's within the heated, warm area. There, on some of them even, some of the tanks are in that area too, but for the most part they are below. But let me just read my notes here. The tanks are heated from the engine and through ducting in the furnace. They are in separately enclosed galvanized sheet metal places. So each tank is enclosed separately. And then they are insulated as well, and then they're getting heated from whichever source you're using at the time. Then what they do next, they take this whole rig and they lift it up and they do a full spray in rust proofing, and they use this kind of foam-like undercoating that, you know, keeps water out, helps a little bit with insulation, protects the tanks, you know, even helps with as a bit of a sound barrier. So that's done to the whole underneath side of the rig. So whether you're in the Unity or the Wonder, whether it's the Sprinter or the Transit chassis, you're going to get dually tires, you're going to get leaf springs in the back, struts in the front, and you're getting anti-lock brakes. So that's just a standard. Now there are other things you can do. You can always add things on, like air suspension and stuff like that, and I have heard in some of the forums that folks are doing that. If that's your thing, feel free, but as always, we recommend that you take your rig and you use it, you drive it for a little while before you decide if you're going to spend a bunch of money on a bunch of upgrades. On the Mercedes-Benz chassis and on the Transit too, you get these really quite comfortable seats, which Leisure Travel Vans has recovered in the ultra leather to match the rest of the rig. And it's really, they're comfortable, they're easy to wash, nice seats. So inside of the Unity and the Wonder, you do get solid wood cabinetry, or so I'm told. I think there are places where a laminate is also used, but I mean, these are solid closing. They also have the soft close on them. There you go, you just got to get it to the right spot. They use the ultra leather on all the seating. They've got thermal pane windows. The plumbing, they use the PEX with these little things on any bends so that they don't crimp or break, and they also have a vibration support on all that. So I mean, there's a lot of really good small features that they've done just to make this a better rig for you. Also to note, on the Unity and the Wonder, you get two 6-volt AGM batteries and a 2,000 watt pure sine wave inverter. So, I mean, this is the construction on the Leisure Travel Vans Unity Wonder. If you've liked it, hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe. We love having you around, and follow us on some adventures. I'll put up some tours here, and we'll see you out there.